I'm standing for Thanet District Council in the Eastcliff ward, which is where we are now, and also for the Town Council as well. And I mean, I've had 4 years experience on Thanet District Council, and I just feel, you know, there's a lot more work to be done, especially about regenerating Ramsgate. I mean, I feel there's absolutely massive potential here to create jobs, to attract investment, to get training opportunities for young people, and you know, I really want to be part of that. I mean, I've spent the first 4 years on the council doing a lot of work in terms of exposing incompetence, bad practice, secrecy, which sadly is a feature of Thanet Council. But I do want to move on and start looking at, actually, instead of challenging the bad practice, which I'll always be doing, but I mean, I want to be involved in looking at actually making things better. So, you know, challenging the secrecy, the maladministration, I'll always do that, but I want to move on and start looking at, well, what a wonderful place we've got here, what fantastic resources and assets, not least of which is the local people. How can we use all that potential to create jobs, decent jobs for people, to create opportunities for youngsters, and actually turn it round into a really thriving place? And of course, you know, one of the answers to that is going to be using areas like the port and the harbour to bring in more tourists. We do need a proper strategy for the seafront in Ramsgate, where we bring everything together and have an overarching plan. We do need to really engage with local people. I mean, the problem I always found with Thanet District Council was that it thought it knew better than everybody else. It had an arrogance to it that it knew better, and we'll tell you what to do when you follow our rules, instead of listening. It never ever engages and listens to local people, and those are the people with knowledge and experience and expertise, and I think, you know, if I am re-elected to the council, I want to be able to develop that partnership with local people that the council's never had. And I think that's the key to turning the corner here, engaging with local people, listening to their ideas and supporting their plans for business or whatever it might be. And I think that's what's going to turn things around here. So that's one of the main reasons. And the other reason, which is linked to regeneration, of course, is dealing with the high levels of poverty in Thanet. And it is, in South East England, it's the most deprived part of South East England, which is hard to believe when we've got so much going for Thanet, all the potential, yet the levels of poverty and deprivation in this part of South East England are absolutely incredible. And that's always been something that really I think a lot of people have avoided talking about. But it's there. You've got unemployment, you've got low pay, you've got bad housing, and everything that goes with it. And I think we need to be tackling the unemployment, and we certainly need to be tackling the housing. And one of the things I'm really passionate about is making sure that there's a decent supply of affordable social housing, council housing, housing association housing for local people who can't afford to buy, and that's a lot of people. So I really want to start looking at getting investment in the area to provide decent rented housing, that social housing that's available to people who need and that can't afford a good place to live. So that's another passion of mine, and that's got to be a top priority. And I think over the next 4 years, we probably need somewhere in the region of 1,500 to 2,000 new council properties or housing association properties to be built in Thanet. And there's plenty of land for that within the town boundaries. We don't have to be building on greenfield sites. There's plenty of brownfield sites that we could use to get some good quality social housing, and I'm passionate about that. And then, of course, the other thing where we really have got a serious problem, I mean, the main way out of poverty, the main way out of deprivation is through education. A good education is what stands you in good stead in later life. It gets you the decent job, the decent salaries. And what we've got here, we've got the Marlow in serious problems. We've got the school where my daughter goes to, Charles Dickens, in serious problems, in special measures. And we really need to be looking at investing more in the education of our young people in Thanet. And also as well, and I've said it on many occasions, one of the reasons, and it might not be popular, one of the reasons we have got an education system which is letting down our young people is because we've got this ridiculous grammar school system that's still operating in Kent. And the grammar schools, of course, cream off a lot more of the available money. And I think we need to get rid of the grammar school system and have a fairer funding to give our kids who are not at grammar school an equal opportunity to do well educationally. So we've got to look at that, we've got to tackle it, because without decent schools that are, you know, in special measures, you're going to have this self-fulfilling prophecy of kids leaving school with few qualifications when they quite clearly can do better, and ending up with very little prospects for decent, well-paid jobs. So that's the other thing I'm really concerned about. So I guess those are the reasons I really want to try to move things on. I've spent a lot of time looking at what was bad about Thanet, and my goodness me, there is a lot in terms of the way the council operates. I'll still be looking at that, and I'll still be dealing with that. But the big thing now is really to start working to look at the good things that we can make even better.